This is Imran with you, and I have one of my very premium guests today, Zeenat Nuran, with us. Hi, Zeenat, how are you?
Hello, how are you? Sorry, I was just putting a message on LinkedIn. Oh, good. It's lovely to be here
uh,
again.
Thank you very much, Zeenat. As everybody knows, Zeenat is she's a clarity coach and founder of Let's Talk Better CIC campaign. Zeenat, I'm not going to give more introduction about you, so better you talk about yourself. Hand over to you now.
Lovely. Thank you, Imran. And once again, thank you for having me on your podcast. And as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you. So I'm going to quickly dive in a little bit about who I am. And of course, if anybody wants to find out more, they can always get in touch with me. So I'm Zeenat Noorani, the Clarity Coach of Clarity Consulting. I also run the Let's Talk Better CIC campaign. So I'm the co-founder and director. Everything I do is around mental health and well-being. So it's about your mindset, your values, your belief system. So I support children, young people and adults find clarity in their life and their business. Because we all come through challenges and uncertainties in life. And sometimes we just need that extra little support and guidance and those tools in our back pocket to help us through when we are sort of faced with adversity. So yes, in essence, that's what I do.
Perfect, lovely. For our audience, our today's topic is overwhelm and stress in the youth job market. Particularly, we are talking about the UK job market. So this is our topic today. And Zeenat, thank you very much for your quick introduction. Let's start our quiz session now. My first question to you is that what do you think? What you are currently seeing or hearing from uh, from the community when it comes to stress and anxiety about work and the job market?
Yeah, okay. So first of all, this topic is really close to my heart because more and more I see young people from students that are either transitioning, leaving school, to graduates of heightened anxiety, uncertainty, and just this deep sense of overwhelm about their future. So, I talk to so many parents as well as young people, and they feel so lost at the moment. They want to be independent, they want to make some of themselves, but everything, as I said, feels really uncertain to them. If I can share some data in some recent figures, there's about sort of around 81% of young workers in the UK have experienced mental health problems. And that's people already in the workplace over the past years. But that's not even including those that are wanting to get into work. Nearly it's the work that is the key cause of their anxieties. The Youth Future Foundation, they had a survey where they believe that 62% of finding jobs is much, much harder now than it was 10 years ago. And I see that as well. It's just incredible, the struggle, how difficult it is, and what, to understand what employers are looking for, as well as when you're going for interviews, let alone it's hard to get the interviews, but once you're there, not all, the thing that helps us with growth and change is feedback, as we know.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the times, because there's such a high percentage of applications, people aren't getting the feedback they want. So how can they improve themselves?
That's true.
And, to add on all of this, Imran, it's like you've got the added cost of living crisis. So it's no wonder young people are feeling so anxious and burnt out. And while those numbers are worrying, let's also highlight the importance of us having to support people, not just to find the job, but it's about the foundations, to find the clarity, the confidence, and how to manage their well-being along the way, because they're not being taught this at a very young age properly.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you rightly mentioned it about the feedback is not given. Zeenat, we lost your voice.
Hello? Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here.
Okay, so you rightly mentioned that the feedback is important. Okay, now there is a continuation of this point here is that do you think this anxiety is now more higher than a few years back, and what could be the reason now?
So the anxiety is higher than what it was because life situation has become more challenging and difficult for young people. I mean, we always, there always is this sort of anxious feeling and the stress around finding a job for young people and everything. But I think because it's so much more harder and, in terms of trying to meet those expectations, the anxiety levels and the overwhelm and the stress of it is at a point where young people are really, really struggling because they don't know how to manage themselves. So where I come in is about managing your emotions, managing those thoughts, pacing yourself so that they can equip themselves better when they're facing all these aspects, the knockbacks that they get. But one of the things I do say, when you don't get the feedback and you get anxious about it, you're like, well, how can I improve if nobody's telling me how? And,
exactly.
One of the things I say is just, a few times keep emailing those companies. And if they don't, go back and do your own self-reflection. So by talking to other young people or talking to professionals within the industry, because I know so many amazing coaches out there who specifically work in the careers and interviewing industry, they will really be able to shed light on how to be more confident, how to gain more clarity, and kind of jump over those obstacles.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I mean, in such situations, we people who are facing such challenges, they have. But there is one more reason, don't you think? Now, the one side is that the anxiety and this pressure of getting a job is definitely there. But don't you think now this is the digital new job skills are required? So sometimes that could be one of the reasons that our job seekers, particularly the young youth, they don't know the else and they are trying to pitch in themselves in different way.
That's a really interesting question and a thought around that. I mean, yes, you know, digital and AI, they play a huge part. I mean, I'm not an expert in that area, but I think our young generation are pretty well equipped when it comes to digital matters and AI, probably more so than people our age, I'm assuming. So, you know, they've got those skills, but I think if we look at it on the other side, because there's so much of AI in the digital aspect and automation, jobs are less, perhaps.
That's true.
So even though young people are equipped to do all of that, there's such a high percentage of young people fighting for the same or similar jobs.
That's true. The supply is more, you know, it's a basic, you know, formula of economy, demand and supplies. That's the next point, which is I would like to ask you is, can you paint a picture for everyone what the UK job market looks like right now for young people, and why it feels so overwhelming for so many? We are talking about focusing only UK market now. Let's see.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, more and more I'm looking at employment for young people and how to support them around the mental well-being side of aspects. And right now, the youth employment, you know, I would say if we were to look at it in terms of I would say at least around 14-15%, hovering around that is unemployment. You know, how do I rephrase this? Many of the available roles, which are part-time, temporary, or even gig-based, you know, so the lack of stability that there is in the job market can create that huge pressure. Also, we need to look at, you know, what is the expectations that young people want? The expectations of young people are so much higher. What are they prepared to do or not do nowadays? It's almost like they quickly want things with a flick of the they need to take to get there.
That's true.
So there's a massive disparity. You know, there's a group that children aren't getting into jobs very quickly, and then there's another section where they're getting into work and the salaries are huge. Whereas when I started work, my salary wasn't ever, you know, that big, but already they're coming out and the expectations are higher. So many progression or mentorship. So even when young people do land something, they still feel stuck. So even though they're hitting those high flying jobs when they get them, are they having the proper support, or are they expected to just go in there and get on with it? There's that sort of pressure and anxiety around all those, you know, whatever job they get, you have the rising rents, the travel, the cost of food. A lot of them are just working to survive, but they're not thriving in it. So there's two ends to this scale. There's nothing in the middle. Either you're really, really struggling, or you've got this great job, but they're still struggling. They're still overwhelmed because of the cost of living crisis. Of course, lifestyle is a choice, as we know. But I don't believe that many young people, even, you know, small business owners like ourselves, are actually thriving. We're just firefighting and surviving because we're just trying to find the next client. And where's that coming from? And where's that coming from? You know, I'll give an example. I worked with a 21-year-old graduate, and who said, I've applied for over 60 jobs since last March. Okay. Out of those, that graduate had only heard back 5 times from the rejections. So it was rejection after rejection, only kind of explain, well, not even explain, it was a general email. So even in the emails, they're very general to say, sorry, you haven't got it, but no phone calls. So when we look at it, we've got this constant loop: apply, wait, rejection, repeat. And eventually that takes a huge knock-on effect, the emotional aspect of somebody's mental state. So when every application starts to feel like a rejection, that's going to be your self-worth.
That's true. Yeah, I agree with you. And I would like to add here one point, which is because in my career, over a period of so many years, I have gone through such phase myself as well. There's one more reason, which is my personal, one of the favorite topic is, and we used to give trainings in UAE to such graduates. When people, particularly the fresh graduates and or the young, when they apply, so there is one more reason, because their CVs, they're not optimized to comply with the ATS, applicant tracking system. So this is now technology era. So most of the enterprise organization, they have tools and softwares where they receive the CVs, and tools will filter and shortlist the CV.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
if they will not, that recruiter has no visibility to the CVs. We normally call it, there's no naked eye has seen the CV. So tool will reject that CV, even though the candidate is competent, because of her or his CV is not optimized, keywords are not there as per the job description, and the CV will not be shortlisted. That could be, and the apply students go into emotional stress and kind of complications. But same time, they have to work on the basic foundation of how they can improve their visibility in terms of CV optimization, in terms of their branding over social media. Particularly, we're talking about LinkedIn.
Digitalized now because of the huge influx of CVs that are coming in, and it's like, how do you cater it?
That's
and
true.
Also, when you're looking at your CVs, make sure you're catering your CVs for each of those job descriptions personally as well. And thing as well, when you're looking at jobs, like for example Indeed and all of those, because they're the big kind of filter companies, if I would do as much as possible, look for a website make direct contact and get on the phone with them, or if you can